Okay, so just got done watching Tony Pizza Guy's video talking about what you guys want in a WWE video game. And he talked about whether or not you want the arcadey, wacky stuff, a bit like 2K are doing this year with 2K Originals, which I do think does look interesting, or whether you'd like 2K to stick with the simulation based and realism for a WWE game. Now I have linked his video in the description so you can go and check that out and see what he said, but it sounded like to me he put a tweet out and many of you fed back to him that you want simulation to be focused upon. Now from the video, I got the feeling that Tony doesn't want that. He wasn't saying that simulation is wrong, not at all, but it felt like he preferred the more wacky, crazy kind of WWE game, which is absolutely fine. That's what he wants. However, I did find some of the arguments against going full simulation a little bit wavy. For example, not having the ability for Rey Mysterio to suplex The Undertaker. Well, is that a constraint of simulation? Because if you actually go into weight detection and turn it off, that would fix that issue. So really, you've got the best of both worlds. Another example used was that The Undertaker can't do a moonsault. Well, he can't with his current moveset. I actually think movesets need to be more superstar accurate, but he can't do it with his current moveset. But if you go into the moveset and edit on The Undertaker, then of course you can sign a moonsault to him and he'll be able to do that move, and he probably can even do it through a table. Now I do agree with Tony about the restrictions in a WWE game in terms of the match play. For example, if you do a powerbomb on the steps, the superstar doesn't actually land on the steps. But again, I can't draw that back to the focus on simulation and it being real, because if it was real, then that superstar should land on those steps. In my opinion, that's just a bug that 2K haven't addressed. You know, it slipped in there over time, hasn't been fixed. It has nothing to do with them going down a route of making it more accurate and more simulation based. Yes, they might have put in controls to try and tighten things up, like you've seen with the ladder, and I do think sometimes that's over restrictive, I agree, but then with the steps, nope, that is just an issue that has not been resolved. So I kind of felt like a lot of pinpointing and blaming the fact that if we go down a simulation route, that it really does ruin the fun aspect of a game is not quite right. I don't think so. I actually like the simulation side, so I would fall more towards that than making the game just completely crazy and wacky. I do think there needs to be a balance, and I also agree that you should have a bit more freedom, but not to the point that the game becomes a buggy mess. It does need to have restrictions to make sure that the gameplay simply flows. And I think that when you make it completely arcadey, it does end up being a mess. And I thought it was interesting as well, as part of this video, right towards the end, Tony does mention that if he went to 2K and said, please make the game completely arcade, if he did that, it would turn a massive audience away, and that would be the simulation people. But on the other side, if he went to 2K and said, make the game complete simulation, it would turn all the arcade people away. So, isn't that what we've got now? With WWE 2K19 going into 2K20? A game that's trying to find the balance, but maybe they're looking at the wrong fun aspect. Now I'm not saying that 2K Originals is the wrong fun aspect. I actually think if 2K get this right, it is a great extension of a WWE game. My thought process is that does need to be completely different. So it's not just that you have 6 downloadable zombies and then you play them one by one in a tower-esque kind of add-on. No, because that's the same. You just be playing the simulation game with zombies. I actually think that it should be a free roam area. The zombies are running around and they're trying to take you out and you're trying to take them out. And let's say you have 10 zombies, then that's what you have to compete with. And it's just a fun mode, and it'd be even better if it had a leaderboard and you can upload your score once you take all the zombies out online. How cool is that? Something a bit different. But going back to my point of maybe they're looking at the wrong route, it's people hearing something like that, and let's say we do get 2K Originals and it is like a tower-esque mode where you just have to beat one superstar after another, and doing that is just you're facing a zombie instead of a WWE superstar. Let's say it is that, then people will say, well, actually, you didn't focus on universe mode this year. And people are looking for fun in game modes that are sitting there now that aren't producing the fun that they really should. And I know that Tony's video didn't touch upon modes as such, it was more focused on gameplay, but I could say the same about that too. There is a lot of things that could be done to make the gameplay more fun from a simulation based point of view. And you can alternatively turn those options on and turn them off. And if you turn them off, the game can get maybe more arcadey. If you keep them on, then the game keeps with that simulation style. I reckon you could even have an option to up and lower the speed of a WWE game, so then you have the option of how quick you want things to happen. There is so many things that could be done, but I don't think it has to get wacky. I don't know. Wacky to me just makes me think mess, carnage, and that is good in some instances, but it's absolutely terrible in others. And I'll give you an example. If we are talking about these games being super simulation based and trying to get as accurate as possible, I mean, 6-man tag, 8-man tag, do they feel super simulation, accurate, realistic? I definitely don't think so. I think they're more arcade if anything, because they do become carnage and at times a mess. So, I don't know. I would say that being able to climb things, being able to scale things, and just having a little bit more of an ability to interact with things too, that's all good. But I do think there needs to be the control as well. And I think it's a fine line to get that balance right. And I just felt from Tony's video, some of the actual points that he made where he was saying, well, you can't do this because the game is going down that simulation route. No, not sure I agree with that. With a bit of playing around, you can make the game more arcadey just by assigning different moves to different superstars. Turning off certain options that are already switched on, even turning on options that are switched off. You can even turn off the reversals, so then it does make it a bit more fun. So, you've got those options now, so it's not like 2K are really driving you down a restricted route. I wouldn't say that. I would not say that. But I like the simulation style of game. I like trying to have that realism. I do. I think you must have a balance, but I wouldn't go down the wacky route. That would not be my preferred option. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because I see maybe a different take. And that's probably because I come at it from a universe creator's angle, and I try and create an accurate universe mode. And that's what we try and produce here on the channel. So, when botches and glitches and things happen that don't quite work out, then I'm usually left a bit upset by them. I get a ton of feedback from you guys wanting things to be improved in terms of the gameplay, which would make the game more accurate. We've talked about having movesets being more focused and driven on superstars, and all of the ideas and things that we come up with here on this channel would still not take away from the fact that if you really wanted to go to town, really wanted to mess around currently in a WWE game, you can still do it, because you can go in, mix up all the movesets, do what the hell you like, and produce some very wacky outcomes already. So I wanted to put this out there. I thought it would be interesting to give a different take. I clearly go on the simulation side. Tony, more wacky. I'm interested to see any other creators that sort of voice their opinion as well. I think it's a good talking point. And I want to hear from you guys as well. Of course, I want you to get involved. Let me know, what would you like more Would you want focus on really improving the gameplay and making sure that we have the best wrestling experience from a WWE game? If you watch my universe mode, if you had matches or were able to create matches like we put on, would that be something that would appease you so you could have maybe more 5-star matches? Or do you want to just get stuck in and get wacky and crazy and just do things that are completely off the wall? Love to get your views. I want to hear from you. In terms of 2K Originals, like I said, excited to hear what it's all about. And if you like my pitch for 2K Originals, hit the like button as well. But for now, please rate, comment and subscribe. I'll see you later.